potential with the Metamorphosis Unleashed podcast, your guide to personal growth, health, and wellness. At the Metamorphosis Unleashed, your transformation takes center stage. Hosted by Coach Walter and Coach Dale, this podcast is your go-to source for practical tips, expert insights, and inspiring stories. Tune in for honest conversations, actionable strategies, and a supportive community that's all about growth and positivity. Key topics: fitness, nutrition, mental health, overcoming fitness roadblocks. We also feature interviews with clients, industry professionals, and thought leaders, delivering real advice and relatable experiences. Metamorphosis Unleashed, your guide to unleashing your true potential.
And welcome. We are on a roll. It's like number 15.
Is it really?
Sheesh.
Wow.
We're on a roll.
We're on a roll. Feel good.
We committed. We
That's
stuck
awesome.
to it. How you doing
Yes,
today?
we did. I'm doing good.
Good. How's your weekend?
It was fabulous. It was a lot of fun.
Good. I heard you was outside in them sunshine,
Yeah,
reading books and
started our first book club.
Good.
From everybody that participates in the gym that works
Mhm.
out. We
Mhm.
call ourselves the Madam Butterfly.
Madam Butterfly.
That's where the Butterfly Effect Studio. We're the Madam Butterfly Book Club. And we read our first book and had a get together to discuss it. And thank you very much for all of the grilling that you did.
Yeah, well,
the ladies loved it.
had to put the smoke in there for
Yeah.
y'all, you know? Go down there and we did salmon, chicken, and burgers.
Yeah, you did good. You did good.
And I was out. I went down,
salmon, but-
made the food,
Yeah.
and I was out.
And we appreciate it though.
I was tired.
We
I
did.
went there, then I went to the beach
I'm glad you
and late. I was like this.
just chilled out.
Have my little speaker.
It was a beautiful day to be in the
Yeah.
beach.
Have my little speaker. Have a little music like this. My little zone out music. I was just
Just zoning out, listening to the waves.
peaceful.
It was peaceful. Did you get some rest?
Then I went shoe shopping. I didn't
Oh.
find none though. I didn't find Nike outlets right there. You can't drop
You
past the
can't.
Nike outlet.
You can't. That's true. That's true.
So I checked it out, and there was
They didn't have much.
nothing I wanted.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Another location down White Marsh. You know, when I drive down this weekend, it may be a little something, maybe something. But, you know,
Don't
right now.
forget, I wear. Right? You know what size I wear. Don't
Oh,
come in here with
man.
something new. It's funny because the ladies wanted to tour the house, right?
Mhm.
And so I took them into the master suite,
Mm-hmm.
took them into my shoe closet,
Mm-hmm.
and Sonia goes, "Oh my God, look at all the tennis shoes!"
Yeah,
and I'm
she's
like,
a sneakerhead too, big
"Yeah,
time.
big. Oh
Mhm.
gosh, I bought a pair. They're so cute. I can't wear them to the gym. They're definitely
Fashion shoes.
just fashion. They're
Got
just cute. They're really
Mhm.
cute. They're gonna look
Mhm.
cute on whatever I decide to wear them with. But I bought them for an idea I have of what I would wear, but I gotta lose a little bit more weight. And then
Okay.
once I do that, I'll be wearing.
Okay.
So I just got them there as a goal
As a goal.
for myself. Yeah. But yeah, good time. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, what I did
And,
yesterday. I washed my car yesterday.
that's
Waxed my
cool.
car, shiny
That's
and
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Clean the inside, wipe down the leather interior, you know, do all the stuff. Gotta take care of your car.
While you take care of your car, we solidified our group. It is definitely a support group.
Oh, good.
So
That ties into what we're going to talk about later on today.
Yeah,
but
it does.
yeah, that's you know,
Good. We're all cheering each other on with all of our, because everybody looks so good. Because some of the ladies I haven't seen since the retreat,
January, right?
but some of them, a couple of them I've seen in between
Mhm.
here and there, and here in the gym,
Mhm.
and they all look so good.
Staying dialed in.
They stay dialed in. We're all trying to stay
we all-
dialed in.
We all, including me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting better at my sleep part. You know, it's still hard though.
Oh yeah. Sleeping
It's
is
hard.
hard.
You know, we just hired another staff member. He'll be on the website this week.
Yay.
But you know, that's the key. Having staff that you trust
Yeah. Got it.
and that make the process in the studio better than without. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're working on it.
We got another good coach good coach to work with us.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good weekend. It really was, and I think it helped everybody.
Good.
You know, we all recognize it. What was really funny that I thought was really interesting. You know, you go to cookouts.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for baked beans.
You know,
you're looking for mac and cheese. You know, and I didn't know what the ladies were going to bring.
Of course not.
But everybody brought something that was a little bit on the healthier side than not. I even got on Pinterest and found this Mediterranean chickpea salad that everybody loved. And so they were asking for the recipe. So I put it out on the group chat.
That's cool.
You know.
Nice.
It's good. It was
nice.
It was really good to see everybody. I think everybody was kind of sizing each other up, looking to see, you know, if we're still on track. And,
of course.
You know, and it was really reaffirming to see everybody still on track. Although we did have our conversations about, you know, like I think one of the ladies had just finished her strict eating for her competition, and the competition was over. So she was a little bit more open to, you know, eating
a little bit off, right?
Yeah, a little bit more often than everybody else. But it was a good time. It really was.
Good.
And I think it just made everybody even more so solidified in terms of making sure that we stay in contact and
stay on track. Right.
Each other on track.
Well, that's great.
Really good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad. So, what else did I do this weekend? Nothing. Not too much and nothing else.
You know, you could have stayed. Okay, so next time you just got to bring down Angelo with you, and then you won't be by yourself.
Listen,
Angelo, have you made Angelo ride on that bus with all of us ladies by himself?
I did.
So I think it's only fair that you and Angelo come down.
Nope. That was y'all's time. I came for the inaugural one. That was it.
Okay. Oh man, that means you're not going to grill for us anymore.
No.
Oh no, that's messed up. We thought we had a permanent griller on our hands.
No, my rate $3.50 an hour.
Oh gosh, no. Well, okay.
Y'all can get together. You know, y'all.
Listen, I don't fool with the grill.
You know, I bought really 5 pounds of shrimp.
That was really nice of you. That really was nice.
Y'all ate all that shrimp, didn't y'all?
Man. Man. That's all I'm gonna say. Shrimp were good.
5 pounds of shrimp with salmon, chicken breast.
You spoiled us for sure.
And ground turkey. Well, that's
for sure. For sure.
Take care of my girls.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
You know, I don't.
That's a lot of girls, ladies, women. But we appreciate the support.
Yeah.
That was really great. It was good. It was good. It was a lot of fun.
At least they didn't have me outside dancing, y'all.
No, you were outside, but you were just grilling.
I had my hat on, my little sunglasses.
He looks so
my
funny.
tank top.
You look like somebody's daddy.
I was just chilling. I was just chill. I was, you know,
like somebody's daddy.
You know, my dad and I used to do that back in the day when I was growing up. We used to sit back and go, and then
cool.
You know, as a kid, you try to fan the smoke away. My dad was like, "Smoke only follows if you look good." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'll take the smoke. There it is.
That's too funny. That is too funny. But it was a great weekend.
Good. So, well, anyway, we're going to talk about this subject today, and it is a good subject matter. You know, we talk a lot about how we can find the motivation to work out, discipline to work out.
Yeah.
And what we know is that science tells us that working out with a group of folks who are like-minded and on the same journey as you always makes it better.
Yeah.
So today's title is Power of Finding Your Tribe.
Finding your tribe.
Right? So it is, for me, it's more than just finding a couple folks to work out with, right?
Yeah.
You got to work out with people who are on a similar path as you.
Yeah.
I'm a bodybuilder by nature, right? And a power lifter. So me working out with folks who are just trying to have just healthy lifestyle, it doesn't really work for me.
Right.
Right.
Well,
our
I think the
interests are
intensities
different.
are different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and because our interests are different and our goals are different, then us working out together wouldn't really be advantageous for both of us. Right. So having folks that are on a similar journey to yours
Mm-hmm.
is far more effective.
Mm.
And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Like when you choose the folks that you're going to work out with, I think that it's better if you're working towards the same goal. So if you're out to lose weight, and get 2 or 3 folks who are able to push you and you push them to get towards the same goal.
And it's important. I'm just thinking back. I remember, moving to Delaware, not knowing a soul in Delaware except for you. And you set up my schedule to where, I kind of worked together on what my schedule was going to look like. But what you did was you brought in someone else that was close to my age and had the same kind of lifestyle. And we just started talking, and it just kind of grew into there. It just kind of blossomed from there. And so we still work out and we catch up every time we work out together and whatnot. But I always kind of look forward to seeing her. Right. And when she's not here, I'm disappointed.
Of course.
Val, I'm disappointed when you're not here. However, I get it. I know. We're both grandmoms and we got our grandbabies, so I get it. But I think that's important. That help motivates me.
Sure.
And I think knowing all the other women and the women that I've met through going to the Metamorphosis retreat has also helped in that regard, in terms of not feeling like the newbie or an outsider or coming into an environment where you just don't know anybody. That's so intimidating. But being able to see people that you've met, recognize, even though we may not all work out together all the time, just having that opportunity to work out with them a couple of times, and seeing them when I come in the gym, I feel like I belong, and that's so important.
Agreed. And part of finding your tribe is just that. My friend Angelo and I became friends literally at the gym. Right? We met literally talking shit.
At the gym.
At the gym. We were LA Fitness, and we just so happened with time ups on Sundays. I would work out with a couple of guys, Pierre and Patrick, and it'd be Angelo, Nick, and Big Mac and Joe. They work out together. So we would just work out being in the same place, same time, and strength recognize strength. So then we start talking trash to each other, blah blah blah. But next thing you know, working out together.
And how long have you guys been working out together now?
8 years this year.
That is crazy. Wow, that's 8 years.
8 years this year.
Wow.
And it creates a sense of accountability because now you know that the folks you work out with are going to be there too.
Yeah, but looking at you and Angelo, because you guys have been working out so long together and the friendship has really solidified itself.
Sure.
Your lives have intertwined even outside of the gym.
Agreed.
Which is really good.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
And I think a lot of people discount how valuable having someone to work out with is. Like, I can work out by myself. I might prefer to work out with somebody who's on a similar mission or who can lift similar to what I can lift. When I train, because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm lifting X and you're lifting Y, and it's not even close. Because one, unracking and re-racking sucks. That's a lot of work. So you got to be able to lift similar to what I can lift.
Okay.
And secondly, I don't want someone to be discouraged because I'm outlifting them by a lot. At the same time, I don't want to be intimidated because someone's outlifting me by a huge amount. Luckily, I'm in a place where there's very few folks where I got to worry about that issue. But it's more about being consistent, more about understanding where everybody is and what they're looking to do, and maximizing every single workout.
Wait, so let me go back to something you said. So the person that you have Angelo, you said that one of the things that you look for is someone that can lift at least what you're lifting. Is that for a safety reason?
All the above.
All of the above?
All the above.
Okay.
I mean, imagine if you and I worked out together. And we go and express.
I can't hold 500 pounds.
And that's what I'm getting to, right?
Yeah.
If I'm repping 315 and you can't bench 175, well, that's a problem.
That is a problem. But
right? Outside the fact that I'm outlifting you, it's I gotta unload for you, do your set, then reload for me to do my set, then unload for you, reload. It's a lot.
Well, I can load my own. We're talking like 50-pound plates. I mean,
Yeah,
it'll take time.
And that's it, right? That's it. You know,
It'll
two
take
people.
some time.
If a workout for you for one person takes 50 minutes, for two people, if they live similarly, it's an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay.
If it's two people that don't live similarly, we're talking an hour and a half, an hour 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
It can be that much difference
Wow.
because of the unload and reload. So it's a lot.
So I think it's interesting. It sounds like when your focus is on lifting the weight and getting your workouts, and I think for us ladies, it's this. Well, I can only speak for myself and those that I work out with. It is about still getting our workouts in, but it's more of a social thing.
Sure.
So, I mean,
I agree.
It's fun.
Well, I got to herd the cats when it comes to that, right?
Yeah, you do have to herd us sometimes.
So, I think that's important. But having folks who are on the same mission at the same time.
Okay.
Again, this is one of the another reason why I equate the gym to like a church or religion, because everyone is coming to the gym for a similar reason. Maybe not the same exact reason.
Yeah.
But a similar reason, to improve themselves physically.
Yeah.
It's like everyone who goes to the church, whatever, is going to improve themselves spiritually.
Yeah.
Right. So you're on the same mission. Your walks may be different.
Yeah.
But you're on the same mission, so everyone can encourage you. So that when you have a group of folks who are on the same mission as you, on the same plan as you, driving towards the same goal, then it's a different situation, and it makes it a lot better.
It does make it a lot better. And there are times when, like, I felt challenged in that. Working out with everybody else because we're all on the same goal. So I see other people making major progress, and then I want to see myself make that progress as well, right? And so it's one of those things where sometimes you don't make the progress like they're making, but you got to keep going. And I think that the part about having that tribe is that they're going to still encourage you. They're not going to leave you behind.
That's right.
They're going to still encourage you to get you to keep motivating yourself and to keep going till you can break through.
That's right.
To the other side.
Speaking of that, I learned something interesting this weekend.
Okay.
I'm trying to read something, listen to something.
Yeah, we both are the same way.
An interesting study was done, and it's unique to women. Men.
It's unique to women and not to men. Okay.
So as women lose body fat,
okay, but that's on the sound serious.
Your body, right? Your body thinks that it's going to gain the weight right back. So what it does, is it fills the area where the fat cells are minimized with water.
Really?
It's called the whoosh. So what happens is after you have a sustained period of maintaining the weight loss, you have a big drop, 7 pounds, 9 pounds, 8 pounds.
That's all the water that your body.
All the water while holding on to, thinking that you weren't going to lose the weight. And in different people, it takes a different amount of time for that to happen. But yes,
and it's
unique to women. Yeah,
unique to women. That is really interesting.
That's wild, right?
Well, that's super wild. So kind of scary.
Reality, though. I mean, when I think about my clients, that's like a plateau where you work it. So when you're at that plateau, you gotta really keep driving it.
Yes.
So that you can get that drastic effect. Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That is amazing. The body is amazing.
Man.
The body is super amazing.
So I read that, I was like, wow, it really sucks.
It does suck. And it's only pertaining to women.
Majority of the time it changes just women.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But we do hold body part differently than men.
Of course. Right. Yeah. So I thought it was pretty interesting. I just figured that's a fun fact that y'all.
That is a good fact. That's a fun fact.
So
anyway. Have you ever been in a have a partner or workout partner where you guys for whatever reason didn't agree?
Yeah.
And then how did it what happened?
I changed workout partners.
You just
like if you're half-assing one time too many, I'm done.
Oh,
I'm done.
You're not showing up.
If I gotta keep that, just showing up, just not putting all of it into each lift. I ain't got time for that. If you just going through the motions.
But because you compete nationally. I get that.
Yep.
I get that. But your workout partner, that person was not someone that was working out nationally.
Mm.
So basically, what happened was your goals were different.
Yeah.
They didn't align.
So
His was more lifestyle than
than being a competitor.
competition.
Right.
So that's a good lesson that
Yep.
you learned about
For sure.
that. And so Angelo, he's a competitor.
Yes, he is.
So it works for you.
It works for
guys.
both of us.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I want to. Well, no, I don't think. Do you think you see that in women?
Yeah.
That's
I have
interesting.
some women who are more serious about competing than others,
Yeah,
and that makes a big difference.
but who are their partners?
Me? No, I'm not the part. I'm just coaching them.
You're just coaching them, right?
Or
But-
they go live by themselves.
or they live by themselves.
Mhm.
Do you have a lot when you're here in the gym? Do you see a lot of women partners working out together, or do you see the groups of women working out together? Everybody's doing their own thing,
Everybody
but they're
kind of does their own thing, but they work at the
working out
same time.
together, but
Right.
we're always there to make sure
Right.
everybody's safe and whatnot.
Correct.
Okay.
Everybody's on their own journey, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And while lifestyle is it, some folks are stronger than other folks. Or,
yeah.
So you can be doing the same workout with just different levels of weight, of intensity, of whatever.
Yeah.
So all those different types of things all come into play.
Well, I think
when
what
it comes to building
what I
exercise.
see is women that are on that path of competing,
Mhm.
and then women who are on that path of just to stay in shape,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have another group of women that are
That's here for socials.
well, not really social. I would say they're here because their lifestyle needs to change.
Yeah.
And so they're not as serious,
Mm-hmm.
but they're doing what their doctors are telling them to do,
Right.
so they can get their lifestyles,
Mhm.
rise back
Get it into
healthy.
the habit,
Yeah,
right?
into that habit.
And discipline.
And I know that's where I was.
Mhm.
And I think everybody goes through that
a lot
process
of times. Yeah.
a lot of times, So I know at first I was like, it's taken me years to go through the process though.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times I was just working out just to keep the blood pressure in check and all that kind of stuff. And then when it became more of a lifestyle is when it became consistent, and I was always coming to the gym. Now I'm on this track of I really want to compete.
Yep.
And it wasn't something I ever initially wanted to do. It's just
But
because
now
I've been in this environment.
Right.
I drank the Kool-Aid.
It works.
I done drank that Kool-Aid, y'all. It's called water. It's the clear Kool-Aid, but I've drank it. And it's intimidating, but I'm good to go. I'm ready.
It's fun. You'll see. It's one of those things, competing in powerlifting, it's just you against you.
Yeah, it is.
And once you can break through for yourself,
yeah,
you'll be fine.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So how many people do you think need to be in a tribe in a gym? How many people should a person seek out to be
3 or 4
their tribe?
at the most.
3 or 4 at the most?
Yeah, because you can't work out together more than that. That's the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because having 5 people on bench today was rough enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to bench with 7 or 8 people.
I know.
And you'd be like,
you're just sitting around watching, encouraging.
Yeah, that's that.
But your body gets cooled down, and then that can be
Exactly.
dangerous.
And the plating, repleting, and all that crap, it's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 or 4.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
But really, to get started, you need just one person.
Yep.
Who will just agree to meet you.
I mean, think about this. I have a 5 a.m. class.
I tried.
5 a.m.
5 a.m. I couldn't do it.
I don't like getting up at 5 a.m.
I know
being
you
up
don't.
at 3:30 so I can be here at 5 a.m.
I tried it one time. I came up.
You did.
I had to leave at 3 o'clock. No, 3:30 to get up here, and I was still late getting up here.
I know.
But doggone,
I ain't doing.
It was too much. It was too much. That was too big of an ask for me.
Right. So once we
However,
get the bigger location, and I have 2 or 3 folks trainers, after 5 o'clock class, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close my office door, pull out my futon, and
take
take a nap. That's it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But those women have built a bond, but they work out together. They're not really doing a lot of lifting.
Oh yeah, they do.
Do they? They do a lot of lifting.
So I've changed the format just a little bit. So Monday typically total body workout.
Okay.
Tuesday's upper body. Wednesday is either Pilates, all kettlebell, or all power yoga. Thursdays is lower body, and then Fridays is either total body, power yoga, kettlebell, or
Whatever you wake up
one of those.
decide.
No, it's actually listed on the calendar.
Oh, it's listed on
So
the
when you go to
calendar.
register for classes, it's on there for each for the rest
Which
for
one?
like I think it's scheduled out for like the next 4 months. I have it for different things on Wednesdays and Fridays.
But it's funny because those ladies do the checks and balances.
Mm-hmm.
You where weren't you here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, get on.
They will call each other
everybody's
out.
case, Call each other
Mhm.
out on that. So I think that's great.
Yep.
So that's a community.
That's right.
And
that's what we build here.
of women that we've built here, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I do sometimes feel like outside of that community because I'm not up here at 5:00.
Yeah, well.
But I know all the ladies.
Yeah, well.
And they understand. They know.
Yeah,
now they
yeah.
really know.
Right now they know, right?
They're like,
they
damn,
around the corner.
you been driving this all the time? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, girl, you're better than me. I'm like, well, hey, I just,
Michelle
I have
comes
to
about
make
that
that
part.
commitment.
Michelle, because Michelle lives
Yeah,
in Wilmington.
Michelle, she lives
North
in
Wilmington she lives, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's I am so glad I feel like I found my tribe
Good.
here at the gym. And I think that keeps me motivated to come on a
Mhm.
regular basis. And I think that's an important piece of the formula that your average person doesn't have. So
But-
how do you pick somebody? Okay, so we talked about somebody that's lifting like you're lifting, somebody that has the same common goals, but you're not gonna sit there and try to interview somebody in the gym. You just have conversations, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess this kind of goes to the second subject. Struggling to be consistent with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's relevant because you need someone who is at least as self-disciplined enough that it will keep you accountable because you know they're counting on you and you're counting on them. So there's some interdependency they have to go on in your workouts.
Yeah.
And that is something that develops over time.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you're not gonna, like you said, you're not interviewing training partners.
No.
You know, even though there's a place on Facebook, I think it's called like Training Mates or some shit like that, and basically you're looking for somebody to work out with.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not a
hookup thing.
Okay.
It's and they'll put in, you know, how much you bench, how much you squat, how much you deadlift, what are you looking out for, and stuff like that.
Facebook?
Yes, like a community class.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then you find people who lift like you do, and then you see if your schedules work. If it works, great. If not, great.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And you know, I tried that at first, you know, trying to find somebody to work out with. But once you're at a certain place, you know, it reduces the pool of people that can train with you.
Why?
Like I said, if I'm benching 400 and they're benching 250,
yeah,
that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I need somebody who's close to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that matters, you know. So, and that means that your level of discipline is different. If I've been doing it for 16 years or 36 years or whatever, you've been doing it for a year, it's different.
It is.
Your understanding of biomechanics is different. Your understanding of how the body works is different. Supplements are different. All those things are all different. So you got to have somebody who's similar to you. Similar.
So when you have a person who's just starting out, you just want somebody who'll say they'll be there on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
Bingo.
And as long as we're consistent on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and we're there, we're supporting each other, that's when you'll see the development.
That's correct.
Of your workouts getting more challenging, and then you can start working on other things.
Pushing each other more. Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's kind of how that works. You know,
yeah.
It is a very good solution to a common problem that a lot of people have, which is being consistent.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you can help somebody with their problems, but then you can't deal with your own. It's the same type of situation.
Yeah.
Same type of situation, you know, where you can help people work out, but then when it comes to discipline for you to work out, it's harder because you don't have anybody that you're accountable to moving by yourself.
Right. Right.
So
that's really cool. I'm sitting here thinking about, you know, before I joined the gym, I was walking, and I ended up starting to walk with a really good friend of mine. Every Saturday morning we would meet we would alternate. We'd meet at my house or her house, and if we were at my house, we'd walk my neighborhood. If we were in her house, we'd walk her neighborhood. And we did that every single Saturday until I moved.
Wow, that's good.
And so now she says, when I see her, she's like, you know, I miss our Saturday walk. And I thought I do too. I do miss having those Saturday walks, but it's easy
That's
to
right.
do. If you really want to really work on your lifestyle and get healthier and start working your body more, just start having the conversations with the people, so you can build that tribe of people that
That's
you
right.
need.
And that trust. Yeah.
Or even start with a personal trainer, because if they're a good personal trainer, they will for sure make sure that you're accountable.
That's what you're paying for. Right.
That's what you're paying for. So that gets you in the habit
Exactly.
of that.
Exactly.
But then you can't rely on that.
Correct.
Because then you'll be like, "Ooh, Walter hasn't called me. Why hasn't Walter called me?"
Exactly.
Why hasn't Walter called me? Because you can't rely on your trainer. You got to rely on yourself and get yourself motivated to come in on a weekly basis.
You got to show up.
Then it kind of flipped. It was like, I don't want Walter to call me because he hasn't seen me, so I'm just gonna go so he can see that I'm on
doing
regular,
something. Right?
And I'm doing something, and then he doesn't have to harass me. He knows I'm coming in. He knows.
That's such a strong word.
It is, but he knows I'm committed to coming in 3 days a week.
That's right. So well, and don't sell yourself short. People are gonna like you. Yes. Right. For sure. They're gonna see you working hard and doing your best, so they're gonna like you. They're not gonna dish you and leave you hanging. So keep that in mind. Yeah. It's really hard to go into one of those big box gyms and think you can find exactly. Find someone to talk to. Yeah. Right. Someone to talk to, because everybody is really focusing on themselves. But you have those opportunities, like when you go into the locker rooms. Like a lot of times when I was in the big box gyms, you go in the locker rooms and some of the ladies are in classes or whatnot, and they start talking about their bodies, and they're like, "Oh, I noticed I'm seeing it," and then those conversations start happening. Right. And so that can happen with you as well. That's a good way too. I think you brought something good there. Classes are good for that because it's kind of what they're designed to do. Yeah. So having someone talk to in classes is easy too. I didn't do well in the classes. Really? I really didn't, because I'm such a an introverted person that me going into a gym and starting a conversation would be like you betting on a horse that's going to win, that's never raced before at the Kentucky Derby. I've never met a stranger, so you know what I mean? That's your personality, though. Right. But everybody is a stranger in my eyes. Everybody. Right. And no, I don't want to talk to you. First thing I did when I go to the grocery store, I put my headset on because I don't want to talk to. Because the old ladies will ask me. Of course they will. County, can you get that for me? Or is that $2 for $1? Does that mean I can buy one and get the other one at the same? Or are they both going to? And I'm just looking at it like, I really don't know. I don't work here, but I would kind of think you have to buy two of them to get the deal. Right. And it's like, oh, okay, But it's those things just make me uncomfortable. So for me to work out, I would make myself go. Because of who I am. Be consistent, right? And I know myself and how, like, when I spend money, I try not to be wasteful with anything, right? So I would actually put it in my schedule. So I would go to the gym. Right. And, the easiest thing I could do, I didn't think anybody would be looking at me, judging me, checking out what I'm wearing, or any of that, was for me to go directly onto the treadmill. And that's what a lot of people do. The treadmill's not your friend. It is not your friend. It's really not. I don't like it at all. It's good to warm down. It's good to warm up and warm down. Yeah, for sure. Warm up and warm down. That's about it. Other than that, so that was my thing. I would just hit the treadmill. And it's not that it's not your friend, people. It's don't go in the gym just to get on a treadmill. It's something you do alone. Right. It's just perpetuating what we're trying to get you not to do. You want to be lifting weights. So what I did next was I went to the circuit weights instead of the free weights, because I didn't know enough about, and it was nothing but dudes over in the free weights. They over there yelling and whatever. So that was very intimidating. Right. So I would go to the circuit weights where you might have to wait to get onto that one, but you can always start a conversation and work through, do all that there.
But then the issue was the consistency. So you start up with somebody in the free weights, and you're like,
fall off.
"Hey, are you gonna be there?" Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Okay, so we'll meet up. Okay, well,
Nope.
And then they don't show up, and that's disappointing. That's disheartening, and that's enough to make you want to just stop yourself.
Right.
But you can't do that. You've got to keep going. You will meet the person.
Yep.
Who
I
will
agree.
be consistent with you.
And they'll be there the whole time. That's
and they'll
right.
be there the whole time. But you gotta do it.
You gotta show up so they can count on you, and they gotta show up so
and
they
they
can count on them.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, I never met that person until I came here.
Really?
I
Interesting.
didn't. Because I was trying to work it in my schedule, and I just never did. And then when I would go into the larger classes like the swim aerobics
stuff, right?
Swim aerobics.
Oh yes, right. Yeah.
It was the old ladies. I didn't want to hang out with a bunch of old ladies because I knew they weren't going to be okay. So let me just say this: it wasn't that I didn't want to hang out with the old ladies. Those ladies were not interested in lifting weights.
That's true.
And I was interested in lifting weights because I had read that weightlifting was one of the best exercises you can do to drop weight.
Facts.
So I wanted to get into lifting weights, but I was afraid to get into lifting weights on my own because I didn't want to hurt myself.
Makes sense.
So that's when I went to the circuit weights. I was like, well, if I can't do it, I can do this because I got the picture. I can follow the instructions.
And it's easy, right?
It's pretty easier. It's easier.
Easier.
I've learned just by working out with you what I'm doing wrong, on some of those circuit weights. But so you got to know who to tap.
Right.
Going to a swim aerobics class and be tapping one of the older women was not going to work. They're not interested in that. So I went to a spin class.
I like spin.
It took me a week to get over the spin class. So I never met anybody in the spin class. After one, I was like, yeah, this it. Yeah.
A lot of times the room is dark,
It's
so you
dark.
can't make eye contact.
You really can't.
And I like spin class. I have a spin bike in my basement, and I have all the videos for different spin instructors and stuff. So I love it.
You love it. I can't.
I love it.
Unless they can come up with a bigger seat from my behind.
That's arguably my favorite cardio is spin class.
Spin? Oh no. No. You can have the spin. I've tried it. I've tried it a number of times, and I always have the same issue. My behind. It takes a few days for my behind to get back to feeling normal after that spin class. But the circuit weights worked well. And then I tried the aerobics classes, but then I'm not one who has a lot of rhythm. And so 2 left feet in the aerobics class, I feel embarrassed being in there. So I'm not going to talk to anybody because I'm already embarrassed because I can't. I'm missing.
Don't want to be. Yeah.
Right. So, everybody has their quirks and, challenges.
Right.
But just stick to it. You'll find them.
And that's key. When people start recognizing when you come in, it invites conversation. It makes it easier.
And I would say, if you can get away from the big box gyms and go to a smaller gym, you'll have a much better opportunity to meet people, to build a community, and people who are going to be looking for you.
One of the most important things to me when I opened the studio was I didn't want it to just be a place to work out. This is a community service place. I mean, we raise toys, we raise food, we raise money, we do suitcases for kids without stuff. We try to ingrain ourselves, at least I want us to ingrain ourselves in the community, so that we're not just a gym. We're a gym, we're community advocates, we help people, we serve people, and it's important to me that everyone here is part of that.
Yeah, well, we've done a lot of things. I mean, we did the squat for cancer. A lot of people do walks for cancer.
Yep.
We were like, let's be creative. Let's make it squats.
Squats. Yep, we did squats.
We can do, 500. Was it 500 squats in 1 hour?
We did more than 500.
Oh, a lot of people did more than 500.
Yeah. I did thousands. We did in the thousands.
I had to clicker. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get past 50.
Yeah.
But that was really cool. That was really creative. Like you said, we raised suitcases and
for foster kids. We raised food for the Middletown neighborhood house, and we did toys for Angel Tree Foundation.
Yeah, the Angel Tree Foundation.
you know-
So we're doing something all the time.
And now we're corporate sponsor for Mud Girl. Something we do a lot.
Yeah, so we're doing a lot, but that also brings in
Makes us
community, and
community.
it
That's right.
builds us as a community.
Mhm.
So they look for the people of Butterfly Effective who are
To
going to
do stuff.
support the community.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun that we get to do that, and that helps, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we've seen a lot of people come into
Right.
the gym and start working out. They see us out in the community, and they come in, and you know, one of my things has always been every time I come in the gym, I knew how I used to feel going into the gym. So when there's someone new coming in the gym, I am always, hey,
Right.
how are you doing?
Makes sense.
You know, what's your name? I'm Dale. Who are you?
Right.
You know, so that they can feel a part of.
Right.
Even though they're
included.
new, they're
Right.
included.
Mhm.
And I've had a couple of ladies come to me and said, man, I'm so glad you
Yeah.
said hello, and you know, you really opened. That made me want to come even more. And I was like, that's great.
Well, that's kind of, it's funny. I kind of architect some of that sometimes.
You do.
Like I kind of know
You do.
what personalities
You
they do with
do.
each other.
You do.
Right. So I have
Mhm.
a couple that'll be here later on today around 4:15, 4:30-ish.
A couple.
That's two girls, two
Oh,
ladies.
2 ladies. Okay.
But they're both very soft spoken.
Oh goodness, they're soft
And they
spoken.
talk like this to each other.
Oh no,
It was a wonderful day today.
Oh,
today was great.
goodness.
Oh, it was great.
that's
Blah,
cool.
blah, blah. It's like they're
That's cute.
whispering,
Oh my gosh.
but they fit so good.
Do they really? Okay,
They're both educators.
that's funny.
Yep.
That is so funny.
Yeah, so it's so part of it is you don't know what's happening until it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So trying to make folks work together is important. Trying to get folks to have new environments and new people and stuff
Yeah.
that matter too, because you never know who's going to help you be better
That's true.
today.
That's true. You never know.
Some days it's not me. Some days it's the other people around you.
Yeah, that's true. We can't expect you to
Yeah.
do everything all day.
But they do.
I try not to.
You see these eyes, y'all? The allergies are mine.
We're both suffering from allergies.
Right? Kicking our ass today,
Kicking
right?
Man, the pollen. But anyway.
So that's good. I have also found that my results are better when I'm working together with a team. Not just because it's more people, but you're getting more eyes on you than ordinary, right? So if my technique is off a little bit, and one person doesn't see it, somebody else will.
Okay. And you'll listen to that?
And well, yeah, the team will work in the same place. Right?
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, as long as you're not, benching 150 pounds, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's important. We got to have folks that are accountable, that we trust, that would be a good fit for what we're trying to do. So that's good.
So what about what's his name? The young boy that competed?
Brandon.
Brandon. So Brandon's 12.
Yep.
So he comes in. He still comes in. Has he brought a friend with him yet?
No.
So
He
how
works with the
does
ladies here. He works with the ladies here.
And it's okay for him? He works out well?
They work the same. Lift the same.
Oh, they lift the same.
Yeah.
Okay. But they don't make him feel. Obviously, he feels good being.
Yeah. No, he doesn't feel bad coming in.
Okay.
I mean, the worst he goes for me because I give him a hard time because he has no brothers.
Okay. Oh,
And it's just him, and he's mama's boy. So I'm breaking him.
Oh gosh.
Break him down to the brake pads.
Don't break him down.
Rota, break him. He needs it. Trust me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then you're just a mentor. You're not gonna break him down.
And that's important. Part of being a teammate is understanding what the people around you need.
Yeah.
For them to be successful.
Yeah. So, is there a common thing that all of us need that you've seen? Was it community? Was it
community for sure?
It was
definitely. A lot of people are on their journey by themselves to begin with, and that's how they start coming in.
Oh, so that's why they come in.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
That's why they stay.
That's why they stay.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's true though, because everybody does at some point in their lives decide it's time for me to start getting myself back in shape. Like I think about my son. He's at that point now, right? He's like, I haven't gained this little bit of weight over having a baby. I need to get myself back in shape. And we went to the gym a couple times together, but we did our own thing. but it was just really interesting. Like that's when I started realizing I was like, he's got to find somebody who can work out with him. And so he had a friend that could, but he had torn his ACL.
Ouch.
So he was out for a
16
minute.
weeks.
Yeah. So, but I think he's just getting back to the point where he's walking without any
assistance.
Okay. So hopefully they'll
be good. Yeah.
Tap in together and are able to start working out together. But it's important. It's important to have that friend or a workout partner.
Sure.
Eventually becomes a friend. But you kind of messing up some of the ladies who want to come to the gym to meet somebody.
I'm messing up them.
Yeah, you are.
Nobody here. I don't foster that kind of community in here, so don't get worried about that.
When you say you're not fostering that kind of kid, it happens. Walter, it happens.
Ain't happening in here.
Oh, whatever. Okay, so they're in the big box gym.
That's there, not here.
They still may meet somebody.
Let them at the big box gym. Not over here.
But you do have couples here.
I do.
But they were couples before they came
married before they came in here. That's right.
They were married before they came in.
Married before they came in. Not
so
boyfriend and girlfriend.
Are you strongly suggesting not to find a partner that's of the opposite sex that you kind of build a relationship with to do it that way? Because if it breaks up,
that's a tough one. I think that.
Because I've noticed you and your wife don't even work out together. I mean, Tracy comes in and she comes in regularly, but she doesn't even think about working out with you.
Nope.
That's funny. Well, it makes sense.
Men lift with men, women lift with women, not because of anything other than the fact that you may lift what I'm lifting.
Yeah, there's no way I can lift.
She ain't lifted what I'm lifting.
Okay, that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense, in my opinion, for men and women to work out unless they're doing some high volume repetition shit. But other than that, don't look at me. You ain't working on me. We can be at the gym at the same time, but we ain't working on me. That ain't happen. Nope.
So if you're serious about your workouts, ladies, don't go to the big box gym and try to meet a guy that's going to help you work out and be there for you to work out on a regular, consistent basis, because it's not going to work. It's apples and oranges.
Agreed.
And it's better for you longevity wise and consistency wise that you find another woman that's on the same path you're on to become your partner, so you guys can work out together. That way it'll be easier. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, it will be. I think that training with someone of the opposite sex is hard. It's hard because the man-woman dynamic while training is tough. It is hard enough to be judged by folks of the opposite sex when it comes to the gym, period. And then when you're training with somebody who is, even if they are your partner in life, training together, I've never seen it end up in a great situation. It's just murky to me, in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair.
Some folks it works. Don't get me wrong. Some folks it works, but just in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for me, when I thought about guys and working out with the guys, it was strictly for a selfish purpose of learning about the gym equipment. It was never about trying to date them or anything like that. Although I've been in some of the big box stores, gyms, and have seen women who come dressed
with no clothes on,
completely for the purpose of picking
someone up.
Yeah,
I ain't got time for that.
You can tell because they've got the face full of makeup.
We don't do that around here.
We ain't got time for that.
We don't do that around here.
We ain't got time for that.
I call people out for that.
You call people out?
Oh yeah.
With the makeup on?
Oh yeah. You got too much? Oh yeah. You don't plan to work on too hard today? What you mean? You got full face on. Unless you're just coming from work and you got a full face on. I ain't trying to hear it.
You can't embarrass them like that.
Who?
Oh my gosh, Walter.
Listen, people don't pay me to lie to them. They pay me to tell them the truth.
That's true.
And if I think that something is wrong, I'm gonna say, listen, you could have made a better choice.
Okay.
So I don't pull no punches. unless you're coming right from work.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
finding a tribe is not looking for a guy.
Mm-hmm.
It is finding someone that's on the same path that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
You won't know until you talk to them
Right.
what path they're on.
That's right.
And have similar goals. Don't have to have the exact same goals,
It's similar.
but similar goals.
Mhm.
So, like for me, I would be looking for someone who was around my age,
Mm-hmm.
who has recently retired,
Mm-hmm.
who is trying to change their lifestyle, and who is trying to get as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
That's my focus.
Sounds about right.
I'm not trying to go work out so we can leave the gym and go to Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
Going to the smoothie.
And
Tropical smoothie.
Tropical smoothie. Get a sandwich and a smoothie and talk about life. And next thing you know, you done gained another 10 pounds because
Right.
you've been going to tropical smoothie
every day.
Gym every day.
Right.
Not looking for that kind of person at all.
You know,
so you have to look for those kind of loopholes too, though.
That's right. You know, and I get that because why don't you have a lot of men come to the gym? 1 minute consistent. 2, I just ain't got time. Ain't got time. But he told me that I'm ugly. She told me that I'm not good enough and I'm too weak. I ain't got time. No, I don't want to deal with it.
You think that was really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Emphatically.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
you know, because then I got to be like. So what?
We're on a more personal level here.
What if somebody tried to talk to somebody at the gym? Right?
Yeah.
Girl A, man A. Man A approaches woman A, and they're out together. They're cool. He asks her out. She says no.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "Why not?"
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a problem.
Now,
right. And the why not? It's a legitimate question.
It is. It's a legitimate.
You have every right to say no, but why wouldn't you want to go? We work out together. We have similar interests. Why wouldn't you want to go? Why wouldn't you want to go out? Because I don't want to. Yeah. Oh, so you one of them type of girls?
You're not my type. So.
Okay.
But
now
the whole
exactly
environment has changed.
Exactly. And then what if you try to talk to somebody else after he talked to you? Exactly. He tried to talk to you. You said no, but then he chose to talk to somebody else.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it.
So I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. No, ma'am. That's why. So it ain't that I don't train men because I do have some male clients. I just that whole dynamic is not what I want.
I hear you.
And that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Or what if he likes you, you like him? It works for 5 minutes and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now what? So now one of y'all got to leave? Nah, we ain't doing that.
That's a male-female relationship.
And that's why I don't do that.
What happens if you got 2 women or 2 men?
Same deal. Same situation. I throw them both out. Both got to go. Bye.
I think, every gym has an environment.
Sure.
That you'll know immediately when you walk in whether it's an environment for you or not for you.
Correct.
And I think here we definitely build a family, community, looking out for each other type of environment. I think in some of the big boxes, it's a very sterile environment. Unless you know
unless you have a click.
Unless you got a click.
Yeah. And that happened like when me, Angelo, Big Mac, and Joe would go places. We're a click. We take over. We go to Attila's gym in Jersey or DSI or training center, wherever we go. It's just us guys. And nobody can mess with us. So we benching 400, 500 pounds. Nobody's going to talk to us. So, but we kind of just stick to our thing. But that kind of happens everywhere. So that's your tribe. Y'all get up, y'all go conquer other territories. That's what you do. So,
Yeah.
That's why we go to different states to go compete in different competitions, right? I just want to say this is what we do over here. We in Delaware. But now, to the point now, we compete in so many different places where the meet organizers call, "Hey, Walter, you guys coming?" We might come. We might not. Depends on how we feel.
Yeah.
So making your tribe, making your community, and making it impactful mentally, physically, and spiritually is part of what we do. I focus on the holistic person as part of my process here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about lifting weights, it's not about losing weight, it's not about the cardio, not about just nutrition. It's everything. And when people can feel like they're part of something,
Mhm.
the outcome is so much better.
That's very true.
And watch this. You tell me, if you think to yourself, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds, just tell yourself that. Okay, great. I'm gonna lose 20 pounds. But if you tell somebody else to lose 20 pounds and they say you screwing up, hey, did you say you're trying to lose 20 pounds?
Yeah.
They change that accountability because
Yes.
and the people that you tell that to, you can trust because they're gonna trust you with the same information.
Right.
Like everyone trying to lose 20 pounds in the next 60 days, the morning crew.
20 pounds in the next 60 days?
10 pounds a month.
Me.
Are you there at 5 a.m.?
No, I'm not
So
there.
you wouldn't know.
Dang, that's just see, it's like a but go ahead. That's fine.
You could totally put a message in the group.
I'm gonna totally put a message in the
There
group.
you go. So you can look at stuff like that and say, okay, everybody's trying to hit that target, 20 pounds in the next 60 days, which would be great. But they have accountability partners built into each other in the group. Marty, Sonia, Stephanie, Priska, they're all working together to get to the same goal and trying really, really hard to not miss the target and screw up on the weekend and do all the shit. Because when you're eating 1,500 or 600 calories, one 300-calorie drink can blow up your whole diet.
Oh, for sure. A glass of wine
will throw up your whole diet, your whole plan for the whole week.
For the whole week.
So, that accountability makes a big difference.
Yeah. I think that's great.
So that's what we do. And that's what we want
so
people
all
to
of
do.
them are on this?
Almost all of them. 4 of them are.
4 of them.
That's enough.
I mean, that's enough to keep each other's spirit.
That's right.
Where it needs to be.
That's right.
That's
so,
cool.
I understand it. And that's the science part that I learned through doing this. It's how do I help people work together, feel good together, and be social enough with each other that you can have that collective trust that you're trying to accomplish similar goals to get there. I didn't just want a gym for a gym's sake.
Yeah.
When I was looking at this, the Snap Fitness was there, and they had corporate financing, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it, and it's like, this is not something that I can just make the way I want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't have done all the fundraisers and tour jobs and all that stuff with the Snap Fitness.
Yeah.
Versus this is mine, so I get to use the model that I want to use.
Yeah.
And build it the way I want to build it. At the Snap, it kind of doesn't give you that liability. They have a specific lane, which is okay.
Yeah.
That's not a good model. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People got a key card, come and swipe it, and no one works there. Well, people work there, but they don't work there, right?
Yeah.
And it would get me away from everyone having a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to have someone available to work with them every single time they come in.
Yeah.
And then I want them to work with other folks and we're going to be there at the same time as other folks where, you know what?
They can work out together.
They can talk together.
Yeah.
So, I train by triage, which means like if there's 3 people here, 3 people on different plans, that's great. And I can work with each person individually. But while they're in between sets complaining about their last set, getting to know each other.
Yeah. That's for sure.
They're making the way to get to know each other, understand each other, and then find different ways to get through the struggles of the workout together.
Yeah.
Oh, he snuck on 10 more pounds. Right, I did. But you wouldn't have noticed.
True.
Because you're yapping.
Yeah.
Making bonds, making friends. And now it would get to a point where, no, coach, we got this. Okay. And I just correct as needed. So it makes the community that much better and accountable to the systems. I think it's good that way.
So you have the 5 a.m. community.
Mm-hmm. At the Tuesday, Thursday, late old ladies. Mm-hmm.
You have the Tuesday, Thursday seasoned ladies.
Silver strength.
Mm-hmm. Silver strength.
Mm-hmm.
On Tuesday, Thursdays, what time?
10 a.m.
At 10 a.m.
Until 11, 1 hour.
Until 11.
And then the evenings with the powerlifters from 6 until 7:30.
The evening is powerlifting.
Yeah.
From 6 to 7:30.
And then everything between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Other than that hour block on Tuesdays and Thursdays is open one-on-one times.
One-on-one times.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. But everybody has the same common connection.
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
That's a common connection.
That's okay, yeah.
They also have a common connection of wanting to get healthier.
That's right.
Some have a common connection that they want to start powerlifting and
Mm-hmm.
bodylifting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're speaking all the same language,
That's right.
which is really important.
Well, yeah.
Because if you don't speak the same language,
You learn gym code. 45 plus 45 is 135. That's right.
Right. Yeah. So that's all important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all part of building the community.
So as someone who's an introvert,
Mm-hmm.
how hard is it for you, even still after getting to know folks, to continue to work with folks when you come in? Let's say no person you work with isn't here, but someone else is here.
Yeah.
You know, how hard would it be for you to talk to them and have a conversation with them? And does that bleed over into your public life as well, where now you're less intimidated by sparking up random conversations?
It's not that I'm intimidated. I just don't want to have the conversation.
Okay, well,
So I would say in here,
mm-hmm.
it would not be difficult at all.
Okay.
Because it's the environment we've created.
Right.
Right. If I went to another gym, another big box gym or
right.
something, I wouldn't say anything to anybody.
Really?
Not at all. I could be there every day of the week and I wouldn't say anything to anybody. I would have my headset on. That's
mm-hmm.
my excuse. Or that's my escape. I won't say excuse. That's my escape. I put my headset on. I don't have to talk to anybody.
And my headset on over top the hoodie on purpose. So you can see that I got the headphones on over top the hoodie, which really means I won't be bothered. And guess what?
They bother you. That's because they know who you are.
What about when I go to a big box gym? They don't know who I am.
No, they do not. But see, that's where you're missing it. They do know who you are. They may not know your name, but looking at you, they know that you're a consistent person who works out on a regular basis.
Yeah, sure.
So they're going to talk to you because they want to get like you. You're like,
it's impossible for me to not.
It's I'm not. So if I walk in a gym, and a woman that looks
in
great,
shape, right?
In shape, look like she's bodybuilding and whatnot. Who do you think the average person is going to want to talk to?
Right.
It's the same thing for you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I was literally, I'll never forget, I was working out with Tracy one time. And we're literally.
With your Tracy?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're literally actively working out.
Okay.
This lady comes up and just starts talking about, I don't know you, ma'am.
Oh.
Do you not see me talking to somebody? 2, you're not in a relationship is. 3, are you kidding me right now?
That's a different situation. She was probably on the hunt.
That may be true, but it don't matter. I'm actively talking to somebody else about working out, and you come just interject.
Well, yeah.
But and that's why I don't have men here, right? Because I don't have those kind of issues.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's why I have those issues here.
That's true, which is good.
Yeah.
But I mean,
one alpha male in here, just one.
It's not even about that.
Oh, but it is.
Is it really?
Absolutely.
Well, that's a whole different conversation.
No, it ain't.
Yes, it is.
You know why it's not?
That doesn't build community.
Here, it sure does, because they know there's one person to protect them at all costs. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I think all the ladies
and
know
that's the point.
That.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop.
But when Angelo comes in, nobody's thinking about.
But watch this. You ready?
You guys are alpha males. What?
I have offered him as such already by him training with me.
Uh-huh.
I've already offered him as such. So if I'm not here, no one's afraid to ask him a question.
Yeah. By design.
Absolutely.
Well, now you got 2 additional male trainers.
Yeah, we'll see how they work out.
They're going to work
They're doing okay now.
They're going to work out.
But I'm looking for a female trainer now, so see how that goes. I just think the FYI people are not paying $2,000 a week.
Don't do that. But if you're interested, give us a call.
Yeah, but no, I just think that having a women-focused gym is different than having a women's-only gym.
Well, so here's the thing. It's not a women's only gym.
Exactly. It's women-focused.
It's women's focused, but it's all built around you're passionate about women health.
That's right. Because I believe that's the key to making a society healthier.
Right. And so I think women, we women that have come into the gym and seen you have the conversations and understand what your passion is, makes it very easy, and we feel very comfortable coming into this gym.
That's the idea.
Because of that, right? And it's a genuine passion that you have.
Exactly correct.
And I think the women that have come in, that you've met out in the streets
with ulterior motives,
they see you and they're like, "Ooh, I want to get to know him. I'm going to go to his gym."
Yeah, come on.
And they come in and they see that you're not giving them the time of day. They leave.
Yeah, they hate it so much.
They do.
They try to stick it out. They try to stick it out.
They try to stick it out. I just start laughing, but when I see them get too close,
I know.
Then Mama Dale has to.
I know, and I'm okay with that.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We're not having that craziness up here.
That's right.
You're a married man.
I ain't got time for no drama.
That's right. You ain't got time for that. I'm not afraid to fight anybody, Walter. I'm gonna let you know that right now. You need to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not afraid to fight anybody.
We don't do no fighting here. So.
Okay, that's good. But ladies, just know he's not interested. And nice look at. You want to look at something while you're working out. A nice look at, but he's not interested. So please don't.
An accurate assessment. An accurate assessment. You know, I
just want to get healthy.
That's what we want you to do. And you can find what you're looking for here.
You definitely can.
If you take those steps and make yourself open and available to the people that are in the facility when you're training, it will make it that much a more enjoyable experience for you. You know, I think that having camaraderie is a big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's really, I'm realizing that it's a necessity to really conquer whatever your goal is. If you want to be successful, you can't do it alone. You just absolutely can't do it alone. I used to think me doing it, and I go to my doctors and I tell them what I'm doing, and you know, they're like, "That's good," and you know, but then I'm still going to the gym alone. And then I went to this other company where they would check your blood pressure, you know, check your sugar levels, ask, you know, you have to do a diary every day of everything that you're eating. And then they would really want you to go over next door to their little gym and work out with the personal trainer there. And that wasn't encouraging. It really wasn't.
And I think that's another one of the reasons why I do some of the things that I do. Like, everyone has to do photos. Once a week. That's just a requirement.
That's the hardest thing for me to do.
Everyone has to weigh in once a week. But I don't do measurements for everybody up front.
No, you didn't. I think you waited about
I waited about a month, 6 weeks. Unless I kind of gauge where you are up front. Because it can be very discouraging.
It can.
And having understanding what people respond to, I try to tailor what I do to make that community environment that much more into it. Because having I gotta lose 20 pounds versus I gotta lose 4 inches, it's a lot different conversation. Right. You know, the number on the scale again is a tool. Inches on the tape measure is again a tool, but those two different tools have different impact on you mentally and socially.
For sure. Oh gosh, for sure.
Right. You know, and photographs can tell a different picture and a different story
for sure
than can the scale or than can the tape measure. You know, if I take a picture of you on day 1, month 1, and then you weigh 175 pounds, but on week 6, day 42, you have only lost 5 pounds, but you lost 5 inches. Well, that tells a story, right? That tells me that you're eating right. It tells me that you have probably not worked out consistently in the past with resistance training. So your waistline's smaller, your hips are smaller, your booty's more shapely, your arms are more toned. But you have now exchanged a lot of muscle for the fat that you lost. So while the scale is not indicative of a huge weight loss, the inches lost are indicative of a huge fat loss. And that, my friends, is what's very important for health and longevity, right? So that's why for mostly women and mostly people of color, the waist to height and weight to hip ratio is so very important because that judges how much visceral fat we have around our organs. If that number is small enough, it's different than the BMI. Like BMI says I'm dangerously obese. I ain't. Right? So, it's understanding the tools and knowing how to use them to make them effective, which is why, like, for instance, our check-in sheet for the first timers, first time visitor, is different. See that right there, people? That's what it is. So it's age, height, your weight, current BMI, current BMR, current body fat percentage, current waist height ratio, and waist hip ratio. And then we'll put the ideal numbers at the bottom for each individual person. We'll take these measurements, we'll write up a quick plan, make a copy of this. You get this hard copy, and we keep the photograph copy in our records for the next time that you come in. And we'll do this for a first-time visitor, just so they can understand where they are. But once you become a client, we don't necessarily do these same measurements. We'll weigh you. Obviously, your height, your age, and all that stuff is what it is. But until we start really working through it, I typically don't use that tool unless you actually want me to, then I will. But just an idea of how we do that, and that helps me put you at a certain workout time when I know other folks are going to be there. That'll be similar to your situation, whether you're retired, whether you're working, you work day shift, you work night shift, whatever. We'll kind of choreograph this to make it work for you. Right.
That's really good.
That's the plan.
It's really good.
It's a science, man. In one of the business classes I took at UPenn for management strategy, it talked about in marketing and in sales how I get 20 micro yeses to get a big yes. Right? These questionnaires are those 20 micro yeses to get you to drop a significant amount of weight. It's okay. You see this data point, this data point, this data point, this data point, this data point. It infects you here, 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 here. Okay, great. We get you these 5 people that you're going to work out with in a circle eventually. Blah 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 blah. Now we know we're going to get this big successful drop. But the key is you got to be consistent over the best 6 to 8 weeks. How do we keep you consistent? Well, we know if there's other folks that hold you accountable, then you're more likely to be successful. So how do we build the right tribe for you? Well, you're probably not going to fit in with folks that are 25 years old just because you won't. Right. Give me somebody that's 45, 60. That big age band of 15 years typically works well together. The majority of my clients in the studio, 40, 65. Those are my two big numbers. Yeah. So, and most of those folks in the age band typically get along.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to be 40 to join the gym.
This is true. You come in at 25 if you like.
25.
If I think you'd be a good fit in the facility,
21.
I'll let you know. If I don't think you can be a good fit,
16.
Again, that's something that matters, right? A 16-year-old's on that cell phone in the hand the whole time they're working out. No.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that here.
What about a family? How would a family work?
It's a tough one because I've worked with some families, and it's hard because males' bodies change faster than females' bodies.
Yes, they do.
And that is very discouraging.
It is.
So I'm not in that business, right? I'm not in the business to have a discouraging situation or create animosity between husband and wife, right? And that's not fair. Or brothers and sisters or mothers and sons or whatever the case may be, right? It's at first, it's okay.
It's fun.
But after the first 2 weeks, it's not fun anymore because the husband is going to drop 8 pounds in 2 weeks and you still fighting on 4. It's just not going to be. You'll be eating similarly. You'll be in the same caloric deficit, except his body's going to change faster just because it's nature.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't foster a good at home time. It doesn't foster a good in the gym time, because people are competitive in nature, right? So
there we are.
So if your significant other who you see is way more weight than you are, but then he turns around and drops 35 pounds in the same amount of time it takes you to drop 15 pounds, well, shit. What is he doing that I'm not? No, he's doing the exact same thing as you. It's just that because his body chemistry and his physiology is different than yours, it's going to be a different thing. So I want to make sure that everyone stays encouraged through the
Right.
process. That's right. So sometimes if husband and wife here train at the same time, they'll be training differently.
Yeah.
Like if she's doing upper body, he's doing lower body.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll make them do different stuff after the first week or two.
Yeah.
But they're never going to work out together unless they're competing for a meet or something.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
They find their own tribe within the tribe.
Exactly.
That's cool.
We all got our favorite cousins.
Yeah, we do.
Same type deal.
Yep.
I just and it's different. Like the way that I make men accountable or hold men to the fire is different than how I hold women to the fire. Right?
Really?
Absolutely. Without question.
Okay.
Because men require a different type of stimulus than women.
Okay.
I've been doing everything right. Well, you're full of shit. Why are you wasting my time? Why are you even here today?
That's what you did with the fellas, because you never come to cross me like that.
Exactly.
So
it's a different type of conversation because men require something different.
I hear you. Okay.
Right. So and as HR person, you're like, you're the same. That's what you're thinking, right? So, but in this type of environment, it doesn't work that way because it's just not effective. I have to find the best way to get the most out of you as I possibly can. And I can tell a man, how do you expect to lead your family if you're a fat ass? How do you expect to lead your family and give your kids something to look up to if you can't be consistent with your fork? How do you expect to teach your kid discipline if you can't be disciplined with your fork? I'll use different words and get the same message across to a female, but it's not going to be that harsh.
So, action steps to getting your tribe, to building your tribe.
So I think the first thing is it has to be a personal thing. You have to be open to having folks that close to you, because there'll be times during your workout sessions that you have to be open with them.
Yeah.
They got to be open with you,
Yeah.
and you got to have that. So then you got to be open to talking about you. Then you got to be open to trusting those people with what you share with them.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Right.
Okay. I think that finding someone who's on a similar mission to you makes a difference. So if you're both on a weight loss journey, if you both are retired, definitely some of those paths have to be intertwined in order for it to be successful.
Okay.
Right. And then finally, someone with similar ability. Don't discount that. I think that's important. You can have somebody who's retired, someone who's got the same schedule as you, but if they've been working out for 25 years and they're in really good shape, they're not a good partner for you to train with. As much as it may seem like it is,
just because we're retired,
just because you're retired, just because you're both ladies, it'll be discouraging at some point in time because you won't be able to keep up, right? And then it'll be hard for them because they got to slow down whatever they're doing to bring you along. Sometimes the dynamic works, but fewer and further between than you might imagine. Okay. A lot of some of my male friends, well, I'll work out with you. They work out with me on time.
And that's it.
That's it. And for me, it's not that I'm trying to show you up. It's just, this is how I train.
Yeah.
Right. I don't work out. I train.
Yeah.
Right. If I train chest, arms, back, legs, whatever. It's this rep is better than the last rep, is better than the last rep, is better than the last rep. And the only way to do that is you gotta push really, really hard. There is no half step and partial. No. If you come lift weights. We're not here to take off. We're not here to look at chicks. All that shit's out.
Yeah.
We're here to and you have to have somebody with that similar mentality that you have. Not necessarily that I have, but they gotta have that same
mindset,
right? What your demeanor is. So those things all have to mesh together along the way. And as you work out more and more at a certain place with a certain person, that'll happen hopefully naturally, and speaking of everybody involved.
So to wrap up, find your tribe.
Yep.
Be open.
Definitely.
Share.
Most importantly. That's it.
And make sure they're at the same level you're at, so that you can build together.
That's right. Makes it more successful.
Yeah, it makes it more successful. So not the same, but similar. They can be a step ahead of you.
Right. Or a step behind.
Or a step behind.
But very similar. Yeah.
Are you looking for that for the person to eventually meet where
I
you
want you to
are?
grow together.
Okay.
And there is a terminal end to what you'll be able to lift,
Right.
right? You know, no one's walking around lifting 100 pounds except for one guy in the world, right? So I'll probably get to my terminal number before you get to yours since I'm closer already. But we're still training hard together, and instead of discounting that 5 to 10% difference that you have between each other, you can push each other more, right?
Okay.
Without either person regressing any. So, but when there's 30, 40, 50% different deficiency in between the two people,
Yeah.
that can cause the person in front to begin to drop back.
Yeah.
You know, even studies show, I think the Harvard Business Review did a study talking about lazy people and go-getters.
Uh-huh.
If you enter a room and everyone in the room is a go-getter, you become a go-getter. And your progression increases by like 30%.
Absolutely.
Or maybe 15%. Because when you go into a room full of lazy people and losers, you will regress 30 to 40%. Right. So it's a big drop off if you're not working with somebody who's similar to where you are. So that matters a lot. Being in the mode where you're able to work with folks who are in that same place as you,
Yeah.
it makes you far more successful.
So your mindset's got to be the same
Mm-hmm.
or similar.
That's right.
Lifestyle should be similar.
Mm-hmm.
What your ability to do in the gym should be similar.
Yes.
Even if you're both starting at ground zero.
Yes.
You both need to be at ground zero.
Yes.
Or one could be ahead or
right. Not
one
by
step,
some huge number.
Not by a huge number.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Should not be of the opposite sex.
Should, in my opinion.
That's his opinion.
Right.
I kind of agree. Only because I think when you bring in the opposite sex, it just convolutes the whole friendship.
Agreed. It crosses some kind of line.
Now,
that's right.
It's different when it's a trainer. They're not working out with
you. They're training you. Right.
They're training you. They're watching you, making sure that you're doing
it right.
Doing all the different movements correctly so you don't injure yourself and making sure that you don't cheat yourself.
That's right.
Because, we cheat ourselves. Forget to count. You say, oh, that's about 13 reps. That's good.
Well, that's
your body's like, I'm tired. Right.
Right. Exactly. That says good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So in the meantime, folks, the Mud Girl is coming up.
Mud Run Girls.
Mud Girl Run to the back.
The Mud Girl Run.
There you go.
There you go.
So we have in June 14, 15 in South Jersey and 28, 29 in DC. Okay. We are being one of the host gyms there. So we're doing all warm ups and all the fun stuff.
All the fun. He's doing all the warm ups and all the fun stuff.
I have no voice for 2 weeks afterwards, but
that's
it'll be fun.
Okay.
It'll be all right.
We appreciate it in the gym.
And we'll have a sweaty good time. It'll be fun outside. And we will see you there. If you look, we will put a link right in our banner ad right now.
And I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be manning
the table.
The table area, manning our headquarters, low headquarters area, inviting everybody in. Talk to us. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love doing this.
RL.us/South-.
And there's one thing we didn't talk about, and that's virtual communities. Because we have a virtual community with the Free Fitness Saturdays.
We do.
And there have been a lot of good partnerships that have come out of that.
Yes.
Holding each other accountable to make sure that they're on Saturdays. And then sometimes they meet up with each other at the gym here. So that you have that opportunity as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can find a workout partner through the Girl Mud Run.
Girl Run.
Doesn't mean you have to be a female to run it. Men are there too.
That's right.
But, you might meet somebody there that's on the same track that you're on.
That's right.
That you could start working out with. There's so many opportunities to do that. So that's good.
Meet a friend. Have
With
a
a
friend.
friend.
So let's make this friend scroll the bottom. So questions, comments, so we can best help you in the future.
Yeah.
And there it is, Mud Girl US /South New Jersey and then use code MGBESFT for 15% off registration. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yep.
If you're gonna come, drop a comment, drop a fire emoji, and we'll hopefully see you soon. And remember, be good, eat good, because you cannot out-train a bad diet. Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.